Hi guys and welcome to the circus. First of all, a big thank you to the new director of Cardfight Vanguard for taking the time to listen to the community's feedback. Because of this, we got the news that we all wanted to hear first, which is about the Persona Ride mechanic. We're in good hands, boys. We're in really good hands. So as we heard from the big announcements in the past few weeks, Persona Ride is a mechanic that requires you to ride the same named card as your Vanguard from your hand. If you did this with a unit that has a Persona Ride icon, draw a card, and this turn, your front row will have a continuous 10k power. Again, the others already shared their thoughts, and I'd like to share mine as well. So first of all, I like this mechanic. It's not that explosive, at least for now, and it's nothing like Imaginary Gifts where it stacks throughout the game. It actually gives me vibes of Break Ride from back then, which is a very cool mechanic in my opinion. Although I didn't get to play the Break Ride era before, I knew that it wasn't that bad of an era. Playing Zero actually made me experience the era, at least on how the games are played depending on how devastating a deck's Break Ride will be. And who knows, this time they might do something similar. This mechanic is kinda like a one-turn wonder, unless they make a deck that can Persona Ride consistently every turn, but let's not jump on that boat for now. Since it requires players to ride grade 3 again, it's still a first turn favor mechanic, but it's not that explosive as Imaginary Gifts. Both players will first be able to reach grade 3 before one of them gets to Persona Ride, and that player that went second will have the opportunity to prepare himself or herself for the other player's Persona Ride next turn. This is one of the main reasons why I like this mechanic, because unlike before, first turn gets to go Unga Boonga and then kill you on a 9k or a 10k base Vanguard. It still has a first turn advantage, but they slightly nerfed it by not giving an extra draw to the player going first when riding grade 1. Instead, they gave that skill to the second turn player. I believe they adapted it from Zero. It's like they used Zero as some sort of testing ground for mechanics that might be actually good in a TCG, which is really cool. Now, about the ride deck. They specifically said that the Persona Ride requires you to ride from hand. So, you can't use the ride deck as the source for your Persona Ride. But, it still doesn't change much, to be honest. Because you can just ride the grade 3 with the Persona Ride icon from your ride deck first. The next turn, if you have the same copy in your hand, you can Persona Ride right there. About the 10k buff to front row, some people say it's like Force 1, but take note that it only lasts until the end of the turn. So once you Persona Ride, you need to make sure that you have all the things you need to maximize its potential. The first thing that came to mind is multi-attack type decks. They can make a really strong turn by recalling or restanding units in the front row. So on the lines of Nova Grappler, Pale Moon, Aqua Force, etc., if their playstyle would still exist in OverDress, this would help them a lot. This brings me to my main agenda for this video. If Pale Moon's mechanic will still exist in OverDress, how will they utilize the Persona Ride mechanic? Pale Moon's Soul multi-attack strategy is an amazing mechanic to mess around with, but like most multi-attack decks back then, what they lack mainly is power. A 10k buff to front row units is amazing, but unlike Nova Grapplers that restands units, Pale Moon cannot abuse this before since units go back to the soul, and the newly called unit will only have at least is its base power. But since the Persona Ride mechanic gives 10k power to the front row circles, Pale Moon will now be able to abuse this one as well. One of the main difference of Pale Moon out of all the multi-attack decks in CFV, at least before V-Series, is that we use the soul as an extension of our board. If you're going to take a look at a Nova Grappler board, what you see is what you get. And in Aqua Force, I believe it's almost the same. In Pale Moon, however, once we put a unit back to the soul, another unit comes out that could be stronger than the last one. For example, if you have a skill like Mirror Demon, where when it hits, you get to push him in the soul, and then you call out another unit, for example, an Alice, which is much stronger. Basically, the more times you can call or stand units in the front row, the better. I'm not saying that Pale Moon has the strongest strategy here, but I hope you get the point. Or maybe you can just take it as me being so biased. Another thing I'd like to mention is the re-ride mechanic. If they make a deck that can re-ride even after Persona Riding, does the 10k buff to front stack? We all have confirmation that the 10k buff is like a continuous skill, but I was wondering if it stacks. Because of the influence of Nightmare Dolls, this question immediately came into mind, so I just gotta ask. If they will not implement a reride mechanic in OverDress, this is not a problem, but who knows, right? Leave it down in the comments if you guys have any answer to this. Overall, I still have high hopes for OverDress not removing clan identities. I hope they still make archetypes for the different playstyles at least. I'm looking forward to what they will do to the players that loves a clan's playstyle. The worst case scenario is this video might be completely useless, but I don't want to jinx it. All we can do right now is just speculate while waiting for more info. For now, I just have one request. Please reveal Chelsea. Please? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. I am really interested in what you guys think. Also, to consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you next time.